Good evening. A new mother from Parkstone near Poole has hit out at a high street store which refused her permission to breastfeed her child. Charlotte Stambridge wanted to use an empty changing room in Zara in Bournemouth when a sales assistant said she couldn't. The store has since apologised, saying their employee didn't follow company procedure. Sally Simmons has more.
7-month-old Teddy was hungry. His mother Charlotte was shopping in their local Zara in Bournemouth with her sister, who asked if they could pop into a changing room to feed him.
And the woman on the desk just went, no. So he said, oh, OK, why? And she said, well, it's a changing room, so it's not really for that. You could try Costa over the road. I said, oh, normally I would, but I was just hoping to be a bit more discreet. And she said, oh, well, they have got a toilet.
The store have since apologised, spoken to the staff member involved and say their policy is that customers who wish to breastfeed their child should be supported by providing a safe and comfortable environment. What Charlotte told me she wasn't prepared for was over 1,000 comments on a newspaper website harshly criticising breastfeeding in public.
People need to be aware that it's not the end of the world and it's not dirty and the babies aren't sick. This is what people have been saying to me. Breastfeeding absolutely stinks. It smells disgusting. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near it.
It is against the law to discriminate against a woman who's breastfeeding in public, to ask her to cover up or to ask her to leave. On top of that, it quite clearly will cause distress, humiliation and embarrassment, and that's really not acceptable. Babies need feeding. That's just a fact of life.
Young girls need to be encouraged to breastfeed their babies. It's best. It's healthy and it's natural.
It wouldn't bother you or embarrass you?
No, not at all. No, I didn't see why it would, to be honest.
As a young mum at 21, Charlotte wishes she'd had the confidence to stand her ground at the time. The fact is, she shouldn't have to. Sally Simmons, ITV News, Bournemouth.
Councils in the region have issued nearly £1 million worth of fines to parents whose children have missed school in the past year. Families can be fined £60 if their child is absent without authorisation. It doubles if they don't pay within 21 days. In Hampshire, more than 4,000 fines were issued and 328 in Poole. Most of them were for term time holidays. 5 fire engines were sent to a sorting office in Gosport this morning following reports of a chemical spill. It happened at the building in Mill Road at 11:40. There was no threat to the public. The family of a Dorset soldier has received an unreserved apology from the Royal Military Police for failing to properly investigate her allegations of rape. Corporal Anne-Marie Element was found hanged at Bulford Barracks in Wiltshire in 2011 after suffering bullying within the regiment. Today, Anne-Marie's family gave their reaction to the apology. Martin Dowse has our report.
Corporal Anne-Marie Element from Bournemouth was always convinced she'd been raped by 2 colleagues after a drunken night at their German barracks in 2009. When she took her allegations to her own regiment, the Royal Military Police, she expected to be protected and a proper investigation to take place. But no charges were initially brought and Anne-Marie was left to face her colleagues. Her inquest in 2014 heard she was subsequently bullied and ostracised within the regiment. 2 years later, she took her own life. Today, the RMP acknowledged that they'd let her down in a full and unreserved apology. The statement said it's now clear that mistakes were made in the original investigation, including in relation to decision-making. As a result, aspects of the original investigation were unsatisfactory. Anne-Marie deserved better, and for that, the Royal Military Police apologises unreservedly to her family for those failings.
I'm pleased that they finally acknowledged that they did fail her, and I do say that with a heavy heart, but finally they've acknowledged that there were serious failures around that investigation. If things had been done differently, then maybe we wouldn't be in the position that we're in today, and we had to fight for 5 years almost to get her the smallest bit of justice that we could get her.
After her second inquest criticised the culture of bullying that she fell victim to, the MOD apologised and a new investigation began, this time led by the RAF police. It led to charges being brought against 2 former corporals. Earlier this year, they were acquitted of rape at a court-martial. Anne-Marie's family only hope now that the army has learned from her tragic case and that procedures and culture will change as a result. Martin Dowse, ITV News.
The government has suggested that universities should help to run state schools, but it's had a mixed response. The proposal is for them to sponsor a local academy or set up a free school if they want to charge higher fees. But several of our Vice-Chancellors say universities should do what they do best. Our social affairs correspondent Christine Alsford has more.
Well done.
Beerwood Primary School in Hampshire is part of a group of schools run by the University of Chichester.
Well done.
They say it's a setup that's a good fit because of the university's strong heritage in education and training.
We have 170 years of experience in training teachers. We know how schools work. We know how head teachers operate because we've trained them, and so there's a mutual benefit.
What I have found being the head teacher is that we have access to a team of staff who understand schools. It is their business and it is our business.
The government wants to make running schools the business of everyone in higher education, demanding that all universities sponsor an academy or set up a free school in order to charge higher fees. But not every university is convinced that bringing in their skills and experience is the way forward. The man in charge at the University of Reading is a former head teacher and was Ofsted's chief inspector of schools. Yet he's opposed to the idea of universities like his having to get involved in this way.
I'm concerned that running a school would be a diversion from that kind of core business of keeping UK universities at the leading edge across the world.
You don't want to do it?
I'd rather we didn't do it.
He says he wants to concentrate on what his university does best, building an international reputation with campuses across the globe, research, teaching undergraduates. His concerns are shared by the Vice-Chancellor of Oxford, who recently expressed similar views and said schools might know best how to run schools. And even in Winchester, where they're keen to establish several university-run schools, there are reservations about how it will work if it's enforced across the board.
For some universities like our own, like Winchester, it's absolutely right that we should be doing this, but maybe not necessarily for everyone.
Are we adding or are we taking away, James?
But if the proposals become law, higher education incomes in the future will depend on every university finding a way to make it work. Christine Alsford, ITV News.
And in a statement, the Department for Education said there are already some excellent examples of universities sponsoring schools, and they have expertise that can really help improve our education system. More headlines. And don't use the same online password for all your accounts. Well, that's the advice from police after a rise in online fraud. In Dorset, £8 million was stolen through cybercrime over the past year. 38% of us use the same password for lots of our accounts. And finally, arachnophobes look away now. A venomous black widow spider has been found at a warehouse near Gatwick Airport. The deadly bug came into the country in a box of aeroplane parts from North America. She was 4 centimetres long and had distinctive markings on her back and red markings underneath her body. Workers at the company Airfin managed to get her into a plastic pot. She's now being looked after at Drusilla's Wildlife Park, and I've heard she's been called Nadia. Let's take a look at the weather now. Here's Lucy Virasamy.
From sleet to the slopes, driving through Europe. Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Hello to you. A very good evening. Well, a colder feel for us as the week draws to a close. Temperatures falling and a chance of patchy frost come the next few nights. As for the daytimes, we'll see spells of sunshine, but a fair amount of cloud. At least many of us will get away with dry conditions. In the next few hours, well, the breeze will prevent any notable mist and fog forming, but temperatures are due to slide a few degrees. These are numbers expected in urban areas. Expect those temperatures to fall just a little lower out in the countryside come the small hours. Here, a slight patchy frost come first thing tomorrow morning for those up bright and early. We will see some cloud here and there, bringing in just a few rogue showers. These should move through at quite a pace tomorrow in that northerly breeze. And where we've got any sheltered sunnier spots, not feeling bad, but with the breeze and the cloud cover, feeling very much on the chilly side out there, just a measly 13 or 14 degrees at best. A similar situation as we approach the end of the week. A cold and in places frosty start come Friday morning. But look at these conditions, fine and bright for the majority. Some lovely, dazzling autumn sunshine, but it will stay on the chilly side. That's it from me. Have a good night.
Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
And that's it for now. We're back during Good Morning Britain from 6 o'clock tomorrow morning from the late team. Bye-bye.